What's going on, everybody? Thanks for stopping into Matt D's RCs. Today, I'm going to be talking about batteries. How we can run cheaper batteries in our Traxxas machines. The easy way. Because honestly, these batteries are ridiculously expensive. These batteries, they do the exact same thing, the exact same runtime, the exact same performance for a third of the price. Sorry, Traxxas. I love your RCs. Always have. I still have a lot of them. But your batteries, stop ripping people off. Do better. Anyways, let's get into how we can change our Traxxas RCs over to different battery connections very simply. All right, let's go. All right, guys. Now, when it comes to the smaller Traxxas batteries, like the 2S, even the 3S is somewhat manageable, but that's not a huge deal. It's when we get into these big 4-cell batteries that for the X-Max, that's when it starts getting stupid expensive. So I've talked about the obvious, the price wise is why we would do that, but also another reason why we'd want to change over from TRX connectors is have such a wider range of battery options when you switch over to an XT90 or an IC5 connector. Now, when it comes to soldering on your new connectors to do this yourself, you can just buy the connectors yourself, and you can solder these yourself directly onto the wire, and it takes a little bit of practice and able to do that, and you do have to have a really good soldering iron. So if we're talking about beginner wise, this is how I started out for practice. So this ESC still has a TRX connector on it, and I'm going to leave that on. I'm just showing this for demonstration. But you would cut your wires right at the connector here. Boom, boom. And then you would expose just a little bit of wire on both wires. And then what you can do is hop on Amazon. You can get XT90. These are personally my favorite connectors. The XT90 pigtails. And they will already be soldered here on the connections. So all you have to do is once you cut your TRX connector off, expose a little bit of wire, take your pigtail, solder the wires like so, and you can do that a lot easier with a cheap soldering iron as long as you make sure that your wires are good and fused together. You won't have any issues. I originally just soldered on the connectors right to the wires myself, but I don't currently have a really good soldering iron, so I did have some troubles when I ended up doing that. It did work good at first, and then after a couple hard crashes, the connectors ended up coming off. So that's the route that I ended up doing, is I ended up cutting the wires, and then I actually had these. I had 3 of these changeovers for charging. So I just ended up cutting this wire on 2 connectors. And then I went positive wire onto the ESC. I took this negative to jump over to this positive wire. So the positive and negative on the connectors here. And then on the other connector, negative wire on the ESC. And it works out really well. These wires are super strong, tough. There's as long as you solder them really well, they ain't gonna go anywhere, and you're not gonna have any issues. So you can use changeovers and whatnot to make this work if you don't want to do any soldering. But honestly, you lose power every time you go through a changeover. So it's better to have just a solid flow of power the entire time. Like I said, guys, the XT90s are my favorite connectors. Armas, they run the IC5 connectors, and the batteries that I'm running in my Arma actually have EC5 connectors on them. And you can obviously run the EC5s with the IC5s. The only thing you have to be super careful about is that you don't plug it in backwards, because you will have a battery blow up in your face. And now the other thing is chargers. So this charger here, I actually paid, it was like just under $100 off Amazon. I don't even know, there's no brand name on it, but I've probably done 20 charge cycles on it with different batteries, and I've had zero issues. Way cheaper. And I also have this Sky RC one, the Sky RC T100, and this charger was also around $100. So I got both of these chargers. So this one can charge 1 to 6S. This charger can charge 1 to 4S. So I got both these chargers for around $200. How much is it for just one Traxxas charger again? I can't even demonstrate my Traxxas charger because it just stopped working. When I would plug it in, there'd be no power. And that's what prompted me to stop running these and switch everything over, because looking at new chargers, I was just blown away. I just forgot how much of a ripoff it is. Let's put it this way. These two batteries and this charger was about $200 Canadian dollars. 200 Canadian dollars. These two batteries, and if I wanted to buy a new charger, 730 Canadian dollars. What? And I've heard nothing but good things about DXF batteries. Lots of people have had them for years. I've ran these, I think, 4 cycles now in my X-Max, and they perform exactly the same as these batteries. So, honestly, guys, if you want to run Traxxas, go ahead, give her. I mean, they are good batteries, absolutely. But you're going to pay literally over 3 times the price that you would for something like this. And you have way more options. You can charge different batteries. You can charge pretty much any battery you want with this charger. A Traxxas charger that's way more expensive, you can charge Traxxas batteries, and that's it. So, my opinion, just go this route. Solder on the new connections, whatever connections you want. It is easier than people would think. You can do it the way that I said with where is it? With pigtails, it's super easy to just solder. You can do it with a cheap soldering iron to solder the wires together, a good connection, cover them up, and you're good to go. Now, if you guys want me to do a more in-depth detailed video on how to solder them properly, let me know in the comments and I will do so. Thanks again for stopping in today, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.